Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody, welcome back to the channel. We're going to get ready to run over some stocks this morning. There's a lot of things that are moving today. There's a lot of news. Right now, we have Pfizer and BNTX that says they have created a vaccine with a 90% effectiveness rate. So, companies like AMC movie theaters and CNK Cinemac movie theaters and United Airlines, cruise lines, all of those stocks are starting to jump this morning, okay? They're all starting to make big moves. So there's a lot of volatility in the market. Gold and silver are getting smoked, unfortunately, for some of my long-term positions. The dollar is still not strong. The markets are strong. So we're going to run you through quite a big list of things today. Just so you know, we are going to do the indexes. We're going to look at gold. We'll take a peek at silver. We'll look at the dollar. We're going to look at all the airline stocks. We're going to take a look at the cruise line stocks. We're going to look at cannabis stocks, and we're going to look at all of it. This is usually going to be your one-stop shop in the morning to get at least a very good detailed breakdown of majority of everything that is moving. We are not discriminatory. We just focus on anything and anything that looks good. We don't just look at penny stocks. We don't just trade the large cap, okay? We are your YouTube channel for everything stock related. That being said, let's start here. S&P 500, bang, goes into all-time high. I mean, it's just insane. Honestly, I gotta say this one kind of threw me for a curveball. I didn't think it would happen so quickly, but hey. Welcome to the market. So here we have markets all the way up into a new all-time high. So we're just kind of cruising along. Markets are ripping, and this is all on the idea that we have created a vaccine with a 90% effectiveness rate. Now, to be honest, the markets are just using this news as an excuse to run stocks, but I mean, I would say most people are probably not trying to take the vaccine. So this is just a news catalyst and using it to run the market. Okay? So here we have markets ripping. I'm just going to tell you right now, with the way that these are moving, you should just project. Now we're going to let me just make this more of an unbelievable. We're going to 385 in the market. Okay? Markets are going to go all the way to 385 next, okay? We have successfully gone through. We did our bounce move down at the 320s, as I had mentioned. We ran back up towards what was short-term resistance. We broke it out. We're into a new all-time high. So we've crossed the all-time high mark. Markets will first go to this point. They're going to first go to the point of 371, probably see like a pullback, okay? And then they're going to try to run their way up towards 385. By the time they even get to 385, it'll probably be more of like a 390 target. So right now in the market, you should be anticipating a run into all-time highs all the way up towards the 385 to 390 mark. Unless some bad news happens where they're like, oh, blah, 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 we're going back into lockdowns. Anything negatively related that could drop the market, if that doesn't happen within like the next week and a half or so, we should really just anticipate the market's going to hit all the way towards 390, okay, on the S&P 500. Next thing that we're going to talk about is the Qs. Oh, you know what? Let me just double check another time frame. Okay, hold on one second. 390. Okay, I have some levels that come in at 382. So anyways, still target pretty much 380 to 390 on the S&P 500 for now. Now we're going to take a look at the Nasdaq, okay? Nasdaq should look pretty much identical. Well, no, not entirely, but similar. Okay, so the Nasdaq has yet to break out, so this is lagging the S&P 500. Okay. Interesting. So we could be seeing sector rotation, whereas tech has been leading the market, but with news of the vaccine, that would put more confidence back into stocks like airlines, cruise lines, hospitality business has been beaten down. So you're seeing money flow into those stocks and maybe some flowing out of tech as to why the NASDAQ is lagging. That would make sense. But either way, if the NASDAQ, so here, I'll tell you this. So NASDAQ will not break out until it gets over this price here of 301. We have that trend line, okay, is at 301. So we need to get through that trend first on the NASDAQ to see any sort of breakout move that we saw on the SPY. And if I may go back to the S&P 500 and let me show you. So you look at, let's map this little line off. You see that trend line? same one that I had on the Nasdaq. I said that's got to break. Do you see a big move? Watch what happens. Look at where it's at, right there. Let's delete that one. Let's delete this one. Okay. Let's delete all these drawings, and then we're going to go put on that level, and you see what happens. Okay, so we're going to go to this 4-hour chart. We're going to go to this trend level, which was the breakout. Okay, and we're going to put our level right over top of that. So we're putting that trend line, or sorry, this red dotted line over that trend, matching it up perfectly. Let's see what happens. You can see, look at markets just consolidating, 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 and breaks out. If in the event you did not mark off that 4-hour long-term level, as I just showed you, you would have never known that this was a short intermediate resistance mark in a breakout play, okay? You would just think, oh, this is kind of like a bull flag. Yeah, no, we were breaking over our long-term 4-hour trending resistance at that point, okay? So for now, markets are going to be on the bull move probably the next week or so that we can see. Just anticipate them to move higher. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at a quick overview of the dollar, DXY. So dollar's open on the day. We're currently not really running up, but as I mentioned from last week on the dollar, I said we should see the dollar start to do a little bouncing action here. Last week, we've started to do the little bouncing action. The dollar will not fully break down until it goes below this trend. Just like I showed you on the S&P 500. This is the same exact time frame. It's a 4-hour chart, 180-day. Okay, so until the dollar successfully crosses below that point, there is not a new fresh breakout that's going to take us below these lows. Okay, we need the dollar to go below that low point to see it get negative. Okay, so if we look at this more long term, dollar still looks pretty bearish. We anticipate that we're going to be seeing that dollar get lower. Now, by that happening, we would assume that gold and silver would perform. Now, currently the dollar is going down. I can only imagine the dollar is going down this morning, or sorry, I can only imagine gold is going down this morning pretty much due to the fact that the market's put in an all-time high and people are less scared of the market crashing, so there's going to be a less incentive to hedge in gold. But looking out long term, I still think gold and silver are a really good play. So myself still holding. I had the dip buy on silver, very good. Still positive on it, but yeah, I had a very big dip buy here on gold or on silver. We're running. I still think it's going to play out long term. That being said, still just sitting on it. We're in the lower dip buy phase right now on silver and on gold. But I think this morning shakedown you're seeing in silver and gold is primarily due to the fact that the market's put in an all-time high. There's news of a vaccine, yada, yada, yada. Now, a couple of the things that you guys need to pay attention to are airlines today. Okay, AAL went running this morning on the news. Stock is still running up. I did a short on the top here. I shorted this morning 4,000 shares. That's how I made that $1,500. Okay, so we're going to be keeping an eye on pretty much. Oh, excuse me. We're keeping an eye on all the airlines today. Okay, because the news with the vaccine is big for airlines. So you have resistance here on AAL around 1532. That previous top, that's price action resistance, but currently we're sitting on trending resistance at 1449. Okay, so the way we're looking at the airlines today is to watch them maybe run up a little bit more. I think we're going to see a situation where the markets are so excited that there's this vaccine news that they're willing to pump up AAL in DAL, in UAL, and all the airlines. They're willing to pump them up, but then they're going to get a little overbought, and then they're going to have a really big short. So initially, we're going to watch these long for maybe a breakout over 1533 on AAL, and then fall back into a short move. DAL is sort of the same thing. We're going to watch Delta Airlines for a long move today to see if we can continue breaking these prices up and out, maybe more towards 41. And then it fall into a short move. And it's really the same thing with UAL. UAL's up. Again, all the airlines move in unison together, so they're always going to look very similar to one another. All right, cruise lines, CCL. CCL is up big. UAL is up big. Or sorry, not UAL, but NCLH. So the 459 here on NCLH was for me shorting this top right here. We waited for the bounce, we went short here and basically traded that short move and covered, and that's how we got the 450 there with NCLH. So NCLH, and CCL are going to be our two candidates we follow in the cruise line industry. Again, that is some very big movement back to the upside for NCLH, and the same thing with CCL. Now that we've gotten this news of vaccine, everyone thinks life is happy-go-lucky, everything's going to go back to normal, and here we are. You can see CCL is sitting right on deviation resistance, which is that 1848 mark. That's resistance. We're currently on it. So I think we're seeing a situation where we're going to see all these airlines, all the cruise lines get bought up, run a little bit today, and then they're going to have like a nasty pullback at some point. Okay. Lastly is ACB. ACB had earnings today. The stock had just ran from $4 all the way to $16. If you're watching this, I would probably be more short bias on the stock today overall. Same thing with CGC. Just touching on these stocks, I think it's probably best to be a little bit more bearish for the time being on ACB with their earnings coming out today. Company's still at a loss. So we'll see. I mean, they've been running strong. You know, everybody thinks Biden's going to win the presidency. By the way, again, I think there's the initial thought if Biden becomes president, then they're going to try to push for legalization of marijuana across the country, and that's part of the reason we've been seeing such an aggressive move back into these marijuana stocks. Now, if in the event they do all this ballot recounting and finding anything regarding voter fraud, which we all know exists one way or the other, it's out there, it's already been caught. So if somehow this all reverses, then you're going to see these marijuana stocks get smacked back down. So again, the marijuana stocks are at a very interesting playing point because on one side you have Biden becomes president, they're going to push for the legalization of marijuana nationwide, marijuana stocks pop. On the other hand, you have potentially maybe he doesn't become presidency and there was voter fraud, and then if that happens, they go down. So it's a very interesting situation you're in with these marijuana stocks. So we're keeping a close eye on them for right now. We're going to trade them maybe both ways, long or short, but still watching. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the only thing I have left for you is, again, AMC. AMC is a cheaper stock, $2, running to $4. This stock here is a part of the hospitality industry, okay? They're a movie theater, okay? So this is starting to see some volatility. It's getting pumped up, you know, with the news of the vaccine. So follow AMC and also follow CNK. CNK, a hospitality business, another movie theater industry. All right, these stocks are all running this morning on this vaccine news. So keep everything that I watched on watch. And everybody have a great day. Hope you learned something new, and I'll see you guys on the next one.